UFC 314 in Miami, Florida delivered to a T. It was a phenomenal card, and at the top, Alexander the Great Volkanovski became only the second ever two-time featherweight champion alongside Jose Aldo, and is only the ninth two-time champion in UFC history. Volk got his seventh UFC title victory, and he bounced back in a big way. As we know, he got knocked out by Islam Makhachev. As we know, he got knocked out by Ilia Topuria. And after not winning a fight for nearly 21 months, Volk didn't just have a good performance, he had an incredible performance, and this was the vintage Alexander Volkanovski that we were used to seeing for over 4 years when he first became the champion in 2019 and then lost it a year ago. We were used to and accustomed to these level of elite performances from Alexander Volkanovski, and that's what we got in this fight. I had him winning 4-1 in this fight, and it was a pretty clear victory for Volk. The only moments Diego Lopes had is when he stunned Volk at the end of the second round, knocked him down, and in the fourth round, he cut Volk open pretty badly. But even in the second round, I still gave Volk, as he dominated 95% of that round before the stoppage. So overall, an incredible victory for Volk, and just one of the most special comebacks and wins that I've seen and that I can ever remember, because although Volk entered this fight and he closed around the -170 favorite, people were still doubting Volk. People didn't know which version of the former champion we were going to see, as he is 36 years old. And Volk is the first fighter 35 years or older in the lightweight division or smaller to win a championship fight. So he is in historic territory. There's never been a fighter in these smaller weight classes that has excelled at this level. And for him to climb the mountain once again and to overcome the odds as well against a younger game fighter in Diego Lopes, it's just incredible. And Volk really proved to me in this fight that there's levels to this game. Diego Lopes did have a couple moments, but he just didn't put together a complete performance, and a performance that it takes in order to beat a guy like Volk, who is such a well-rounded fighter and such a powerful striker with his leg kicks and mixing in the takedowns and the level changes. He really just has a complete game necessary to be at the top of the division, and that's why he has been at that top for so many years. And everybody wanted to talk about he's getting older, but you could put that away, because Volk is here for the present to once again go on his second title reign, and he's 7-3 in title fights, and now he's 6th in the UFC in title wins, and he was tied with a bunch of people with 6 title wins, and now he gets up to 7, puts him on a different level. And it's really just incredible what he has done, and now he's one title win away in the featherweight division from Jose Aldo, who has 8 and is neck and neck with him for the greatest featherweight champions ever. I think Volk is the greatest featherweight champion ever. His activity level, what he did, and also not just that, but moving up to Islam, and a lot of people thinking he won that fight as well at that time. And I really think he just continues to prove that he is one of the greatest fighters, not just right now, but one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. Volk needs to start to be in those top 10 to 12 all-time fighter debates. He is that good, and he just done something that many other fighters haven't. We've seen Leon Edwards not be able to regain his title. We've seen Kamaru Usman do the same thing, and we've seen Israel Adesanya do the same thing as well, and Henry Cejudo. So there's been a bunch of guys that have tried but just have came up short. And to me, to win the title and to be on top for so long takes something, but to lose in the fashion Volk did and then get all the way back to the mountaintop is just it's just incredible performance by Volk. He proved that he still has a lot of juice left in the tank. He is not finished by any means, and he can try to go on another title run and get to reach maybe 10 title wins and climb another mountain. But yeah, I thought this was incredible. And overall, I thought this was one of the best fight cards of the entire year. And we're only 4 months in, but also one of the best fight cards, I think, in the last year plus, not just the calendar year. It was that darn good. 3 finishes, 5 fights, and they all were incredible. It started it off with a knockout victory by Dominic Reyes, who had his 3rd straight knockout in the UFC after losing 4 straight fights. So Dominic Reyes is inching closer to a title shot once again. I really would like to see him maybe against Yuri again, or one of those top guys. And I think he's really one fight away from a title shot. He was just so impressive. And one of the most impressive performances of the night was John Silva. He submitted Bryce Mitchell in the 2nd round, knocked him down in the 1st, and it seemed from the start to finish of that fight, John Silva was just in complete control. He was kind of playing around with him. He was talking trash. He was talking to people in the crowd. That guy is part of the Fighting Nerds, and the Fighting Nerds are just pure cinema every time they enter the octagon. One of the most exciting groups, and John Silva is one of the most exciting prospects in this featherweight division. It's great to see a new potential contender rise up the ranks. I definitely want to see John Silva in a big fight, maybe even a top 10 guy next. He will find himself in the rankings very, very soon. Yair Rodriguez beat Patricio Pitbull in a unanimous decision victory, 30-27 all around. And this was a pretty masterful performance from Yair. He had a good, he had, control in the most of this fight. And Pitbull it seemed like when I said in my prediction, I predicted kind of how it would go, and that Yair is just too big, and he was over 4 inches taller and had that reach advantage and kept him at distance, and Pitbull did land a couple good shots here and there, and it seemed like Yair was going to finish him later in that fight, but I give credit to Pitbull. He showed the heart of a lion in that one to stay in the contest as well. But yeah, Yair's leg kicks and his striking, he's just so phenomenal and he's such a big fighter for that weight class. So yeah, a great win for him. I'm not sure. I think he still needs to win maybe one more to get back to fight against Volkanovski, as Volk knocked him out a couple years ago. But still an incredible victory for Yair Rodriguez. And the next fight, Paddy Pimblett knocked out Michael Chandler in the 3rd round of a 5-round lightweight fight. And Michael Chandler, I thought, won the 1st round, looked good through the first round or two. And Paddy Pimblett just wore him down after that. And Paddy's just hit him with just a vicious knee in the 3rd round. And from that, it split Chandler open. And Chandler was just not the same after that. And Paddy got Chandler on the ground. Looked like he was going to submit him a couple times and got the job done. And Paddy Pimblett is not a prospect anymore. He proved it against King Green. He proved it against Tony Ferguson before him, and he proved it once again against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler now is 2-5 in the UFC, and just seems like he can't put together a fully good performance. But that doesn't take anything away from what Paddy did, because I still think Chandler is a good fighter, and I don't think he's completely done in his career. He still has more to give, but this says more about Paddy Pimblett, because Paddy really showed that he is a true contender for Islam Makhachev. And the fight that I want to see is I want to see Paddy against any of the top contenders, maybe a Charles Oliveira, maybe a Justin Gaethje, maybe a Dustin Poirier, but probably not him, as it seems like a retirement fight's in the future for him. But the one I want to see is Paddy Pimblett versus Arman Tsarukyan, because I think Paddy can test Arman everywhere. On the ground, on the feet, I think Paddy's a better striker. And Paddy is such a big lightweight, and he just moves so well, and he mixes everything around. And as the fight goes on, it seems like he gets more comfortable. And he's 7-0 now in the octagon, and the future is very, very bright for the Pride of Liverpool. The baddie once again proved everyone wrong and got the victory by knockout. But like I said from the top, this card from start to finish, one of the best in the last year plus. unbelievable action from start to finish, 3 finishes, and a great main event with Alexander Volkanovski reclaiming his 145-pound crown and becoming the second ever featherweight 2-time champion. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.